Excuse my face, no makeup, no nothing. Yes, I did. Oh gosh. Ninja, can you please come in? Hello guys, how are you? How are you guys doing? Excuse my face, no makeup, no nothing. I'm sorry. You know. Hi Musa Akebe, how are you? Gambisaran Kole. Thank you, Mustafa Mansari, for sending us stars. We appreciate it. I've always said if you send us stars, you are directly supporting the network. So thank you very much, Musa, for sending us stars. We appreciate that. Hey, Humble. Thank you. I saw Humble. Actually, I saw you yesterday. You know, during my show with Dr. Cisse, you were going crazy in the comment section. Thank you for sending stars. Thank you, Ibu. Thank you for sending us stars. Juma Mubarak to you all. We appreciate you all for sending us stars. So we're going to be talking about something very important today. You know that there's no fuel. There might be fuel, but no one is really selling fuel, except I think GNPC. But even that, they are not selling right now. So as we speak, a lot of us cannot drive. We cannot go anywhere. So I don't know what is the economic impact of this to our country. So economist Nyang Jai will be joining me. So I'll call some other people as well. You know, just Nyang Jai Ananga Binta Sise. It's a Mumba Matomal. You know my mom is Binta Sise. Right? Thank you for joining us, Binta. Sorry, let me call Enjoy. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna make a quick call. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining. Parana mangi live, do dugasi. Danga nyo rek so nyo okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Sehu. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna play some music before Nyangjai gets here. So we're going to talk about the fuel as we speak today. As we speak right now, a lot of the stations across the country are not selling fuel, and there's a lot of people are parking at I think GNPC. GNPC is the only one selling right now, but even with that, you cannot access that because the whole long queue, and as we speak right now, at the turntable they're not selling. So I don't know what is going on, but I do know that I think the importers say they are on strike. So and what is the reason for the strike? If you remember, I think 3 weeks ago we addressed this on our show, because there was a press conference at the Chamber of Commerce where the importers, I think, were talking about giving government an ultimatum. If not, they will stop selling. So today, that is what is happening. But there's so much to this. There is so much to this. And what should be the solution? Because we do know there are some people also in this business who like to hold the whole country at ransom. That is also something that nobody should allow. Just because you want to do a certain things, you want government to do all the things that you want. I know we're in very difficult times in this country and across the world. Thank you, Sehu. Thank you so much. Stop. Thank you, Sehu, for sending us that. We appreciate. So we'll be talking about that. Alice said, today I have no makeup on. Look at my face. No makeup, no hair, no nothing, everything. I look like a badibunka today, actually. I look like my old grandmother from Badibu. But yes, Nyang Jai will be joining me soon. Nyang Ananga. So we were talking about that. Let me play some music before Nyang gets here. We'll be talking about the fuel issues. Thank you, De Fatima. Thank you. Kasa TV crew. De Fatima, can you bula anti Kasa Fede Yame? Okay. Thank you, Auntie Fat. Auntie Fat, be on Tarabadibule. My ngati kosti nyame. Be on Tarabadibule. Nyang, okay. Nyang, send us a request through the small button. I cannot, so I'm just going to. Nyang, this is a button between the ma send request through Fofo, right? Hi, Baleng Cham. Nyang, the send request Fofo. Send a request. Okay, you send a request through. You know the two small arrows underneath. Fofunga send request. Fofunga send request. Fofunga send request, and then I'll be able to. Yes, I think that. Yes. Hey, Nyang Jai. Nyang naka nga tagaloo ni Nyang Jai.
No, xam nga man suma maam yi pol lañ te pol yi nag yun mooy noonu rek dama dellu si suma maam yi jógee rek.
Ana borom birthday bi Omar Jai.
Enjoy boppam mu ne. Yeah. He's having fun.
Oh, great. Nyang, dama bëggoon tey ñu wax ci the fuel crisis bi. It is important that we talk about this because actually man yesterday I wanted to buy gas and I'm thinking, oh, if I could, let me just go home, I'll get gas today. So I woke up today, I saw all over our office cars and everywhere is empty and guy them gas amusi dekabi. But I do remember a couple of weeks ago, I think that was when we had you on the show, the GCCI organized a press conference on behalf of the importers, I guess. And they had given ultimatum to the government to say prices of gas should continue. Nyom, what happened to Nyang? Nyang is gone. Nyang, can you come back, please? Ibrahim, Murlamin fana, Murlamin Mane. Man li ma jaaxal waa awti yéen suñ waxee dara rek ngeen ne yéen la yéen a buutal borom Mbali, I have to call my darling that I don't have fuel. My car is empty. All the cars, all the office vehicle, mine, everything is empty. So right now we cannot just even. Buba was out. They're working. They're going to put out a story very soon, but. It's crazy right now. Nyang, can you come back, please? Ananga Nyang. So let's wait for Nyang Jai to come back. Okay, I think we should do local languages. Okay, we'll definitely do local languages. You're right. We'll do local languages. It's important that people that we're talking to understand what you say. Okay. Nyang, nyang jai man kisumalati. Nyang. Nyang, can you send a request again? Hi. Nyang jai. Okay, let me see. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
You guys kicked me out.
Yeah, I'm ready. I don't know who kicked you. It just went. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Sorry about that. So, Nyang, I don't know more Nyang. Ñu wax si fuel issues yi nga xam ne moo xew si réew mi. I remember about 3 weeks ago, we had you on the show. And we also spoke about the issue, but we also spoke about this particular issue because the GCCI had organized a press conference where some importers were raising concerns about the pump price, and they had given ultimatum to government because we do know that government determines the pump price. The government determines pump price on
Yes.
these products, right? But for the past couple of months or even a year, government have been subsidizing. And how were they doing it? They were doing it because they were giving away some of the tax components that these importers don't pay. That way, they are subsidizing, and then the pump price remains stable. Now, I spoke to somebody who was giving me an idea as to what the stalemate is right now. Now, according to what I was told is this, because of the war in Ukraine and all the things that are happening across the world, the fuel products prices have not been stable. It's been fluctuating. And because of that fluctuation, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. And when importers buy these products and they bring it to the market and they buy it in volume. So before that volume goes away, maybe the price has changed. And recently what happened, the dollar is really, today I think the dollar price is about 59. And most of these importers have been selling at a loss because government, I do remember the finance minister said they are not going to continue to subsidize for petrol products. And according to another person who also I spoke to, even the donor partners are telling government that is not sustainable. Because if these are some of the things that brings a lot of tax money to our coffers, if they are going to continue subsidizing, then it affects the economy. Now, today, the importers are not selling fuel and fuel products because a lot of them say they are selling at a loss. Now, this is what is happening right now. Government is not going to subsidize anymore. These importers are holding on to their product and not selling to us. And then us, the end users, are suffering right now. As we speak, all the petrol stations, I think with the exception of GNPC, even GNPC right now, the one next to my office is not selling because they said they don't have products anymore. They are selling at other places, and there's a lot of queues out there. So today, what do you know about this first before we go to the economic?
Thank you, Fatou. It's funny. Nothing to do with the war in Ukraine. Nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
Petroleum generally, in good times and in bad times, is a very volatile product. Volatile in the sense that the prices are very unstable. Since the prices are unstable, people who buy petroleum products tend to buy in the futures. What does that mean? You put a price today if you expect that prices are going to be high, and you lock them. But unfortunately, most of what we see in the Gambia is spot buying, on the spot. So most of our importers buy product on the spot. And now if you look at the Gambia price structure, it has two layers. The first layer is the importer. The importer is whoever is importing the fuel into the country. Then the second layer is the dealer. The dealer is the owner of the petrol station who is going to sell it to you. So there is what you call an importer's margin on the price buildup, and there is what you call a dealer's margin on the price buildup. But most of the importers that are in the local market are also dealers. Case in point, Jar Oil imports fuel and he owns petrol stations. So he will get a dealer's margin and he will get an importer's margin. GNPC is an importer, but at the same time, they are also categorized as a dealer because they own petrol stations. So for every 1 liter they sell, they get a dealer's margin. For the importer, it is calculated in metric tons because when you order in metric tons. So what has happened today? There are two types of scarcities. One scarcity is a shortage, meaning the storage, the tanks are completely empty. So when the tanks are empty, it means we have a stock out. But what we have today in the Gambia is what you call contrived scarcity. A contrived scarcity is a scarcity that is.
Gosh, why is Nyangai being kicked out? This is very important. Okay. We try to bring Nyang back again. I don't know why he's been kicked out. Nyang, I don't know why is he being kicked out. But this is a very important conversation. Nyang, I'm trying to see how I can add you again. Okay. I don't know why he's just kicking you out. Please can't join broadcast at this time. Why? Oh. Is the connection, is it my connection or Nyang's connection? Nyang, dafa mel ni internet la. How man da sa internet bi la ndax?
No,
Nyang,
it's not my
internet
internet. It's from your end. My internet is good unless you want to tell me the Gamtel fiber is not good. Well, okay.
No, that is good.
I'm on the Gamtel fiber. Anyway, Fatou, like I was saying, what's happening in the Gambia right now is what you call a contrived scarcity, because we don't have a stock out. A stock out is when the tanks at Mandinari are empty. Today, we can be assured that the tanks at Mandinari are not empty. Therefore, the scarcity is man-made, it's programmed, and it's controlled. What does that mean? It means that the dealers are not willing to either sell or bring product into their tanks in the filling stations. What are they trying to do? It's a negotiating tactic. You want to negotiate maybe with whoever is doing the price build-up, that's the price structure, to give you more margins per liter. So it cannot be a coincidence that all the petrol stations in Gambia happens to run out of fuel at the same time. That is virtually impossible. So therefore, it is orchestrated, and it is man-made, and it is deliberate. So what the next steps are, that's what we need to talk about.
So Nyang, my thing is, I spoke to, just like since in the morning, I've been talking to scores of people. You know, in every business, there are people who like to control the market. They like to dictate what happens in that market. And we know there are mafias also. We're going to be honest about this. There are mafias in this business who think they have to dictate to all the importers and others to dictate what happens in this sector. Man, Nyang Jai, cha. Hi, Nyang Jai. Sa internet bila duman. So before Nyang comes, what I'm trying to say is this. Nyang, I think it's your internet. Trust me, it's your internet. Let me see. Nyang, kick out right.
Fatou, I've decided to just come out. That will give you a much better connectivity, and hopefully this time you will not tell me that it's my network, because I'm sure it's not my network.
All right, let's see how it goes now. So, Nyang, before we get to what the next solution, we also know there are people in this business who try to control and dictate what happens in the sector. We all know petroleum business is lucrative, it's a lot of money, but there are people who dictate what happens in this sector. Do you think those people are the ones that are trying to push and enforce things on government? Because to be honest, Nyang, in as much as, I know you're a very big critic of this government, but the truth of the matter is, for how long can government continue to subsidize in this business, in this sector?
Fatou, there's two things that need to happen. When you are in the position to subsidize, you should be able to have resources to give away. The Gambia government don't have resources to give out, meaning they cannot afford a subsidy. So what do they need to do? The government of the Gambia need to come up with a price structure that has a price build-up. They will charge, let's say today is costing them $35. I'm just giving you an example. It's costing $35 per liter to import fuel in the Gambia.
Yeah.
You can keep the pump price at $50, so you have a buffer of $15 per liter. So you open an account where for every liter of fuel bought, you save $15. You're saving it. Then now, if the price of fuel changes to $60, for example, now it means you have made savings in the past. So now, when you're importing fuel, you can go to that bank account and buy fuel, because maybe for 2-3 months, you were making $15 savings per liter over 60 million liters. So there is enough money at the bank. So when the price changes, now you can use that money to make up for the price difference, and the public will not see a change in price at the pump. And also that is good for inflation because it stabilizes the market. And it used to be like that in the 90s and early 2000s. They have changed it, but that's the most viable model that the Gambia should use when it comes to petroleum marketing in the Gambia.
Do you think the rate of the dollar going up has something to do with this? And also what we have seen, I know you are a big advocate of government not trying to restrict the dollar, the foreign currency, because when they came up with that policy, you were out there talking about it and saying how, it was not effective. We have seen they have rescinded that decision. Do you think that has something to do with this? All of those effects is affecting what is happening today?
Fatou, we need to understand one thing. Petroleum is a strategic product that is highly volatile.
Yeah.
That's one. We have endogenous factors, that's local factors that are pushing the price, and we have external factors that are pushing the price. Externally, the geopolitics around the world affects price. Externally, logistics, shipping affects the price. Then locally, what affects the price the most is foreign exchange. Because today, if In Gambia today, it's $59.50 butut for the dollar. So that will affect the price, because whenever we buy something, we pay in dollars, but we recalculate it in dollars, because that's the currency we generate, then exchange it to dollars, pay international bills, then convert it back to dollars to see how much it cost us, then we put a price tag onto it. So in the Gambia right now, foreign exchange plays a key role in driving inflation up, because our forex market hasn't been regulated properly, and the policy is very loose, speculation is very high, and ultimately it's the Gambian consumer that suffers, because the businessman, all he does, calculate all his costs and pass it on to the consumer. So the businessman is not an NGO, so he cares less what the dollar is doing or not doing. At the end of the day, total cost plus margin equals to price. So they will put all their costs, how much it costs them. Then they will say, I want to make 10% of my cost. Then after putting 10% of their cost, then they say, this is our selling price. So yes, the dollar plays a role, but at the end of the day, the government of the Gambia need to do one thing: come up with a pricing model that will stabilize price. And when price is stabilized, there won't be that much problem in the economy. We all know that petroleum is high across the world, but now prices are going down. But we cannot take advantage of prices going down, because we don't have big storage facilities for us to buy bulk and store it. We don't have the resources, meaning the companies that are in petroleum marketing cannot buy 6 months of supply today. They don't have the cash. Neither do we have the national storage to store that amount of product. So it means most of the time when we buy product as a country, we are buying it on spot basis. Spot basis meaning we buy for next month. That's the farthest we can go. We cannot buy more than 2-3 months. We don't have the money, we don't have the space to keep it.
Now, as we speak, no one is selling. I think only GNPC. Atlas is not selling. Jar Oil and all these big companies are not selling. Now, GNPC, even at GNPC, the one next to my office here, is not selling right now. What happens to the economy when stuff like this happens just for a day? What happens? What impact does it have?
Well, Fatou, once again, the economy is just like a human being. It's a living organism. And that's why we like to say that economics is a behavioral science. So the economy takes a cue from human behavior, and it responds to what we do as human beings. So what happened immediately when people realized there is no fuel? Any place that's selling a fuel, if you wanted to buy 5,000, you will buy 2,000. So there's panic buying. So that's a response that we are sending to the economy, number one. Number two, we are losing confidence in the economy. What do I mean that we're losing confidence? The economy no longer has visibility. We cannot see more than today or tomorrow what is going to happen in the economy. So yes, what is happening today is having negative effect on the economy, not only financially. The financial cost is maybe someone wanted to take a trip to Dakar because someone wanted to rent his or her car. Now he cannot take that person to Dakar. That's a loss to the economy and loss to the individual. That's number one. Number two, you have a restaurant. Now it goes off. You have a generator and you cannot buy fuel to start your generator. So that's a loss to the economy. So like I said, it's an adverse effect to the economy. Whether we like it or not, the economy is receiving mixed signals and negative signals from the economy. And that is not good. And that's why the government, being the custodian of public policy, need to make sure that they are sending the right signals into the market. The right signals are always make sure that the economy is managed smoothly, always make sure there is no disruptions in the economy, always make sure that the signal we are sending to the economy is positive and it will send a positive stimulus to the economy.
Now, what happens now, Nyang? At this point, what do you think should be the discussion between government and the importers. Now, Nyang, remember, the subvention was to take away some of the taxes. Now, you take those taxes away, these are the monies that we use for schools, for other agriculture and other things. Now, you take that away and say, okay, we're subsidizing for the fuel products. And then the suppliers also make their margin. You know, they make their individual business profits. But the country, the population is not getting those benefits of the taxes that are supposed to be paid. And what should be the conversation now? Who should yield to who? Who should at least give some concession?
Well, Fatou, I think the oil marketers are very smart. They have now pegged the government against the society. Society needs mobility. We want to move. The bakeries want to bake. The restaurants need generators running, so they need fuel. So this is the right time for the oil marketing companies to sit with the government, because the government is in a weaker position today because there's a disruption of supply. Is that good in terms of negotiating power for the government? The answer is no. It's not good. Is it ethical? The answer is no. Is it moral? The answer is no. But I think in this game, people don't care less, meaning the oil marketers are doing what's best for them, and they believe the best way is to bring society to its knees by creating a supply disruption. And once you create a supply disruption, sit with the government. And when you sit with the government, you ask for more than what you want and hoping that they will give you what you deserve. And in life, nobody gets what they deserve. You get what you negotiate. And the way I am seeing things right now, I am pretty sure that the Ministry of Finance is talking with the Oil Marketing Association or whatever they're called. But at the end of the day, society loses. It's a loss for society because the government wants this to go and go away quick. So in trying to go away quick, they will give concessions that they won't otherwise be willing to give.
And that affects the society in general as well.
Even if it stops today, right now, as I speak to you, society has already been affected because our movements have been curtailed, number one. Number two, the people who are going to negotiate with the Ministry of Finance are on a stronger footing vis-a-vis the Ministry of Finance. So they now are having...
Man, the internet. So I think this might be mine. Let me see if Ramadan see my try my use fiber in my hall. Sorry guys. Seems like this is mine. Basketball. Send me a lamp. Send me a sorry guys, I think now I'm connected. Nengai, please come back in. Marketing companies in 2021 said government law. Pastor Bombe ni landi la kante pura e law. If I can't ni ni amo yaranko. Marketing companies in 2021 said government reduced fuel pricing in the Gambia. This is high. How does it affect the economy? Okay. Well, Nyangjai, can you come back again, please? Oh, God. Yeah, I think it was my internet. I just moved. So this is crazy, and it's interesting. So I hope Nyang comes back so we can finish this conversation. But it's a very, very delicate situation. Um, either way, the population is not going to win here. Just like Nyang was explaining, if government accepts and giving to what the importers are asking for, now what that is to give them more tax, to give away more tax, that way they don't pay those taxes that they were not paying, because government will be subsidizing for the population. And if that happens, those monies are supposed to be used for our schools, for our hospitals. Nyang, try again, please. The more folk ne my internet bill si kaw. So I just came down. So if you can come in, that'll be good. Basifo, you want fence? Yes, hold on the laptop, hold for a bit. Basifo. Where are you, Nyang? I can't find you. So what happens now? Nyang, Anaga? Okay, Nyang, I can't see you though. Maybe you should keep trying and see. Let's see how it goes. But in coming for it, Wolom, Mimbe Kiri, I'm sure Mojamami Alan ko be Jibero, la Mimbe Gambia Yang, Yamuela ko Cabrin Somanda, Molmang Isanso Ningasolo, and in fair femi ko fuel products long a monsoto, because importer solo, mini along ko ibe fuel wafola, imantara fuel wafikan ele essential to, namanke GNPC te masakundal tamoti. Wole be wafirol andu wol fanan e mantra wafirol labe to bayri tolla jang e mantra wafirol je so min be kere ko minu ka essence nati banko kan e ko ila producto ye minu nati ni ya wafi ka wafi nyame they are running at a loss. So e sefero ke the Ministry of Finance ka tandila ko bayri komantula man sakundale ka subsidize ni mo subsidize wolom ke bulo lankan price wonin kan wala na price wo man seleno bari bi wole okay Nyang is back. Nyang, connection failed. Hejna Ninja, try it again. Gis na lang ganyo mune connection failed. So wo mune wo subsidizing ka ken wo nyaadi le wala mol mini alon ko ibe I saw try it Nyang trial again. Gis na bo I tried accepting mune connection failed. So try again please. Later dama wati si so pour ma am better connection. So mimbe keri wolom masakunda watu ika minke ika taxol mi alon ko nying essence wa filal kaminke pour que essence o dununa banko kan yo taxol le bondi dol bondi yeje yo dol bondi yeje isaji ko banko se fuelo dase talano banko kan sa nimman say o da bondi tole minka ke man safanang la dépense o nyanta minkela na karambo ta nin kudo wol ka talale kat wo ko do min fuel wa fila nyanta jore bu ka jo so indirectly man saka nin to nen essence so sana dalasila man saka transfer la fanye je through the tax so wol be ke kan so bar man sana to wala stop because ya jel ko wo man sustainable ate continue nola so nata wo stop bar kabri tol fane wo stop fuel wa filal fana nata je ko min kana tane wala aje ko itol fana ni continue ta ka wafiro ke nimbe daminto itol ifana be boilal so wolam problem mote right now fuel wa filal ko fuel ko wafi damin na sai isan zero to ni tol be continue la ko ba wafila wala ibe boilal bayri man samantara ka subsidize itol fana mansa fana ko fuelo date la fa nola banku dingol ka sang price la min tambi bayri mansa ko dal ka price wala so woto min be wafiro la wol fana nate bulo muta yela essential ni fengol soron e ko ita wafiro kela wol be kere nyin tembe am manki ko fuelo masto banko kan de fuelo be banko kan bari fuelo ka wafi you will stop because ikonia wafi a price o min to tenia wafi wala ibe boyla le bayri man samantara itol subsidize kan so wolam issue ti nyajay wala explain kan wo I abe cost min nyang my connection is weak. How is that possible? Tala fenko tala otuba. I don't know. Masingol imantara mi use ka. Masingol mi besanto. Imantara mi use ka. Probably a connection of fenke. I'm trying to get my fiber to jam, but in the internet connection among strong. I don't know why. I was on AfriCell before, and then it was doing the same. So healing was little fiber slow, AfriCell slow. So this is the situation. Sa mimbe kere wala na fuelo mantara kere banko ka manki ko fuelo mantara banko fonkande fuelo be banko kande bar fuelo mantara wafikan katu wafir lal ko ka wafi price on ni ko ndena ka wafi wala itolte ko do sala bayri man secondary ke subsidize man secondary am fonga yamel finance minister afa tonya it's not going to be sustainable yang lola di so heli nga waxli ni yo he fuel internet bi dam dema kamach man dama tay so bo hebi nga wax bi tam nga try set I was using AfriCell bi ma doon wax ak yow ci kaw so try you said it's crazy, right? You can't even get to speak properly when nothing seems to work at this point. Nyang Songune Duga, ma try pour summarize. Thank you, Sang Seka for sending us that. I appreciate. Ma try pour summarize. Nyang lim don wax si English in Wolof as well, because I think it's important because when it comes to essence mom, essence sohla ñëpp la essence problème yi ñëpp la te essence bu ñàkkee si réew dafa métti nañ xam ne suñu lopitaan yi courant moo amee courant yi nawek works on essence generator and all of that so su essence ñàkkee ba ñàkka nawek duñ mën a operate courant du am number one essence su amutee suñu lopitaan yi ak lii générateur sax doo ko mën a opérer si lopitaan yi pour lopitaan yi te xam nga ne nit ñi dañoo am pour dem operations and all that stuff yooyu yëpp du mën a dox essence su ñàkkee xamal ne mbuuru woo foriñ woo duñ mën a lakka bakeries yi duñ mën a liggéey because essence dañoo liggéey so dina affect suñu lekka yi su essence amutee doo mun a dem toppatoo sa soxla yi réew mi mënuloo def dara fii loo xam ne essence su amutee kon nag am na solo pour essence su ñàkkee ñëpp am mu nekk everybody's business and I do know ne lii is a very very delicate situation luñ doon jéem a explain fii mooy ne at si weer yëpp essence waroon naa yokku waaye Gambia government ñoo doon subsidize di génneel importers yi di leen génnee yenn tax comme suñu waree fay GRA ak number benn tax ñu ne leen déedéet yéen bu leen fay loolu téye leen loolu waaye bu leen yokk price essence so loolu mooy subsidize ñu ngi leen doon jël tax bi nga xam ne dañ ko war a jël dugal ko si école yi dugal ko si marché yi defar si yoon ak yeneen yooyu leen jël ñu withhold ko duñ nangu importers yi ñu fay ko that way ñoom tam dinañ mun a margin bi dinañ mun a keep up with the margin ndax price yi essence ak gasoil ak yeneen du mun a seer si soo demee jënd essence weer yëpp nguur gi loolu lañ doon def waaye dem na ba am fuñ toolu doono partners yi wax nañ leen ne lii it's not sustainable minister of finance si boppam ñëw na si National Assembly mu ne duñ mun a subsidize waat essence because nguur gi nekkut njëriñi nguur gi nekkut njëriñi askan bi waaye nag jaaykati essence tam luñ lay nekk di wax mooy léegi ñun suñ jëndee essence price bu cher ñu indi ko fi dollar bi mu ngi egg di wàcce because inflation bi dafa nekk di dem kenn xamul bopp bi genn bi léegi ñun buñ doon jënd essence ñu ngi ko jëndee woon dollar bi $50 te dollar bi mu ngi dem 59 right and then yow yaa ngi ñu wax ne ba tey ñu jaay ko the same price ba pare essence fuel price bi tam si market bi mu ngi fluctuate kon ñun duñ make profit ñun nekkuñ di make profit te ba tey ñu ngi fay tax léegi ñoom su ñoo deal with that ñoo xam ne ñu ngi import ñoom tam ñu ne ñoom tam pour jaay seen essence yi weer yëpp ñoom dañoo nekk at lost so dangaa gis ne ñoom duñ make profit bi nga xam ne loolu lañ war a make léegi lii mooy stalemate bi nguur gi ñu ne ñun weer yëpp ñu ngi xañ askan gi tax yi nga xam ne ñii dañ ko war a fay pour ñu mun koo dugal si service yi réew mi ñang yow tam ñang bul def loolu xaaral ok gis naa la xaaral ma seet bi ñang connection fail la ma wax ca internet bi la ñang so léegi loolu mooy problème bi nguur gi mënuñoo ñu ne duñ mun a subsidize pour askan bi léegi government bi tam naka jaaykat yi tam ñu ne ñoom tam duñ mun a jaay at a loss léegi nag fuñ tollu tey nekkuñ di jaay essence si réew mi yépp GNPC ñoo nekk di jaay waaye soo génnee fii so dafa mel ni man problème bi man la so I'm sure dina am pour bàyyi leen waaye I'm trying to explain but obviously tomorrow the brunch Lamin Cham will be here with the experts to explain but I really wanted to come and just give you guys this hint as to what is happening and tey ñun ñëpp la affect man de foog naa ne sama moto bi sa fii laa ko paak dama mën a ñibbi parce que démb laa wax ne damaa jënd essence ma génn rek mu guddi ma ne dafa guddi naa xaar ba suma ma jënda tey ma ñëw ma eew ñu ne ma essence amul ñaan maa ngi try actually mu ngi try nag pour ñëw de waaye network bi moo bañ Singate Jamba, thank you so much. Thank you for sending us stars, Singate. J. Lois. Nyang. Internet video. Nyang, harama call la kon. Harama call la WhatsApp. So they munu mala. Kaya wa nindiga, harama call la. What's I? Harama call la directly. So harama call ko directly. Thank you, Mansoor Job. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for sending us stars, Mansoor.
Call me, you interrupt. Call me on WhatsApp. It's better than the...
Okay.
Call WhatsApp.
Okay. Ngeen dégg de lu tax man xalaatu moom loolu ko WhatsApp. Ñang.
Yes.
Ñang balaa ñoo sori si loolu waaye ñang réew mi tam lii tam ndax lii tam ba kañ ñang jaay.
Well, it's not bad because you and I, this is what we want. You see, in life, we don't get what we deserve. We get what we negotiate. And unfortunately,
what do you mean this is what we want?
This is what we want.
How?
It's not even about the past election. Allow me to finish.
Okay.
It's not about the elections. Nothing to do with the election. It has everything to do with us seeing what is not right, and we still condone it. I will start with the Banjul project and the sham press conference yesterday.
Okay.
When the contractor wanted a contract, he left his office and went to the government to do a presentation.
Yes.
He sold us a value proposition that this is good for Banjul, and we bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Today, half of the country are not convinced that the government and the contractor are not strange bedfellows, meaning they're sleeping on the same bed.
Yeah.
It would have been government's responsibility to bring the contractor and said, we gave you a contract. These were the terms and conditions of the contract. These were the scope of work. Now explain to the Gambians, let them understand. But
Yes.
the more the contractor is being shielded, the more we smell a rat. But back to my point, this is what we deserve. No one is doing what ought to be done. And what ought to be done is when your government is not living to expectations, because the primary role of government is to manage the expectations of its population.
Yeah.
Today, our expectations are dashed, and we don't believe, or overwhelming majority of us don't believe that our government is living up to our expectations. But yet still, we are not doing anything to solve that problem. So who is the problem, the government or us? Let's be fair, it's us, the people.
I mean, what you said about the Banjul project, I think I said that yesterday on my show. I was really disheartened and to see that all the government machinery was brought to come and defend. I call it defend a contractor, because I just cannot understand what was the point of that press conference. I would have expected a round table where you would have the mayor, the contractor, and government sitting on the table and looking at what has the contract, what was the contract, and what has been done to take stock of what has been done, what has been issued, and what is outstanding, but not coming and doing a press conference where the contractor is not available to tell us what happened. So I think that was really something that I don't think anybody buyed into. Gambians are not dofuñ, xam nañ ne definitely Hadim Gaye moo sign contract. Hadim Gaye waroon naa ñëw wax ñu lii laa def lii moo ci des waaye nag ñang jaay su government bi waxee ne they were satisfied. This question was asked, is the government satisfied with work that is going on? They said yes. $26 million out of the 44 has been already given to Hadim. Remember, this was supposed to be a 10-year payment. This contract is roughly around what? What is
2
it?
years, 2019.
Yeah, and he has received more than half of the money already. So government said they're satisfied. That's what the minister said.
That's not even the issue here. The issue is, I think also in Gambia, the journalists don't ask the right questions. I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
Ibrahim Asila today on Standard, he was quoted as saying over 26 million has been paid, and this is how it was paid, the quantums.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen any journalist ask the pertinent question.
Like
was
what?
These monies that were paid to the contractor, did it come directly from taxes collected, or did we borrow money to pay? What do I mean by did we borrow money to pay? Mm-hmm. Did we raise money, whether it's through central bank by way of deficit financing or borrowing from commercial banks? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, there is what you call cost of borrowing. Yeah. So if the contractor, for instance, received 26 million and these monies were financed, it means that the 26 million that was given to him has attracted another $3 to $4 million of interest. So the true cost of the project is not still being told to Gambian, and I will give it to you in plain, simple terms. He's been getting duty waivers. Duty waivers is monies that we forego in our tax collected and let it go and give it to him. Yeah. So let's say he received $8 million in duty waivers for this entire project. We paid him 41 million, 41 plus 8. And also the monies we were paying him, we're going to the banks to borrow or central bank to borrow. We're paying interest. So the real cost to the Gambian may be about $62 million just to get a project of $41 million.
And for me, what was also an issue for me was the non-payment of taxes. And for them to bring the Director General of GRA, and he tried to explain that, oh yeah, he has been paying his corporate taxes. We were not talking about corporate taxes, right? We were talking about him paying a fair share of that $44 million, which was supposed to be 1.2 113 million or 114, around something like that million, right? So that has not been paid. And Ibrahim Asila tried to justify that by saying a lot of business people that we give contract to, we do that. But remember, did you remember the Simlex incident? When Simlex refused to pay their fair share of taxes, even though government wanted them to give them a tax break, the GRA advised that they were not qualified for that. And GRA went to the point of even closing down their offices, right? They closed down their office because they believed that they were not paying their fair share of the taxes and they should be paying. Now, tax breaks, we have seen the GRA letters clearly indicating that Hadim doesn't qualify for that break that they wanted to give him. Now, that was not paid. At least if you are giving that kind of business, the least we could have seen government pushing would be to get him paid taxes. That way, we know we're getting the taxes at least owed to the country as well. But after single sourcing that contract, giving you duty waivers, you're not paying tax on top of that. And then we're not getting value for money. I have said this. For me, is this. I don't care what everything else that has been done. One of the main purposes of this project was to get Banjul not floating. Banjul is still floating. So what is there for you to convince me on? This is the problem. And if our government officials are going to come out to defend Hardin, that is the problem for me, Anyang. That is the problem for me. Because what are you trying to tell us? Hardin himself cannot explain. Since the inception of this project, people have raised concerns. People have said, this was not done the right way. There are issues that we have. The contractor has never attempted to clarify. But everything is done by him. We have seen Bailamin Job trying to defend him to the point that, like, you think he was the contractor. Now, what we have seen yesterday also was the government defending this project. I understand when government comes out to defend their project and say, no, we did this and it was successful, blah, blah, blah. But this is your customer. Even the consultant was a customer. He was paid to do a consulting work. So when you tell us all of those people come there to defend a contractor who was never seen anywhere close to this press conference, that is my problem, Nyanjaya.
Well, Fatou, don't blame your government, blame your citizens.
Okay.
Udebi nimla gise lala ole. Citizens, any country you go to Senegal, there are things that they will take and there are things that they will not take. I call the Banjul project the Great Gambian Heist. Why is it a heist? It's broad day robbery as far as Nyangja is concerned. I'm not being prejudiced, but value for money, I am not seeing value for money. Unfortunately, it's just my take. That's how I view things. But what I can say is that this country will not change until we, the people, change our attitudes. One, sincerity. Two, stop being apologetic and convenient. Gambians are generally convenient, meaning it's working for me, it suits me. What's my problem with it? That's not how you run a country. That's not how we manage the affairs of the state. And that has to change if we want to be taken seriously. And I believe this is what's going to, set this country back. And there are a lot of people in this space, myself included. We are really, having a rethink. Are we fit for purpose? What we are doing right now, is it yielding dividend? Because I just don't want to scream. I am not anti-government. I want my government to be on the straight and narrow. But if I'm trying to bring my government to the straight and narrow, and my fellow citizens are seeing me as the problem, not the government, it's time for me to have a rethink and say, I love country, but self-preservation before collective preservation. And this is the sad bit, and that's what the politicians want. That's what the powers that be want. They want the voices of dissent to be silent. And frustration is the quickest way to silence us. Not that we don't believe in the cause of the Gambia, but we don't believe that the very people we are trying to advocate for and help, not that they don't deserve. And it's not that they're ignorant, they're selfish, either out of poverty, deprivation, or whatever. But long and short of it is, it hurts.
It hurts, and then we just pray people like you don't stop talking, because people
I
like
am,
people.
and I'm giving you notice. I am going to stop pretty soon.
No, you cannot. We won't let you stop.
All right.
But going back to the no, you cannot. Going back to the fuel, Nanyang. Now, if we don't have fuel for the next 3 days, what operations do you think will stop, and how does it affect things, the smooth running of things in the country?
Well, sometimes a government should flex its muscle. I'm sorry to say, this is a national security issue. Fuel is a strategic product that runs across all sectors of the economy and all activities of, economic life in the Gambia. Therefore, if we have fuel in the tanks in Mandinari and people are not willing to sell it, I'm sorry, I will do a Hugo Chavez style and nationalize, whether it's for 1 week, 1 day, take over these petrol stations, fill them, sell, put the money in the bank and give it to them. It's far-fetched. I don't think we're going to get there. But basically, all that the OMCs, the oil marketing companies, are doing right now is to make sure that they push government to the negotiating table. But when government comes to the negotiating table, they're coming limping. Why are they limping? Because the OMCs have already triggered a crisis. And when you trigger a crisis, it's like a house on fire. The government will want to put the fire out. When they're putting the fire out, it's not going to be pretty how the fire is extinguished. And that is to the benefit of the OMCs. So right now, what needs to happen is, I don't know what they're asking for because I'm not privy.
Yeah.
But whoever is running these stations should look at the economy, because any disruption of economic activity sets the whole macroeconomic environment. And when the whole macroeconomic environment happens to have a negative setback, everybody is a loser. Even the guy who is going to receive more dealer's margin from the government will suffer, because the economy has been disrupted. So it's in our collective interest to make sure that we find a soft landing to this situation, whereby whatever they're wanting, if they cannot even have it all, they try and get some of it and phase it out with government. If government cannot give you all of what you want, agree with government, give us 25, 30, 40% today, give us 30 later, and give us another 30 later. Whatever it is. And that way government will plan it, because planning also is part of good macroeconomic management. And right now in Gambia, we do what you call ad hoc macroeconomic management. Planning has been put on the wayside because most of the decisions we are taking are firefighting, problem solving, rather than controlling the direction that we want our economy to go. Because I will give you a simple example. Government wasn't talking about a forex policy until the dollar started shooting up. And instead of coming up with a monetary policy, they used an administrative directive to solve an economic problem. What do I mean by that? Mm-hmm. All they did was write a letter to the banks banning the use of foreign currency accounts and telling them pay in Dalasi. That was an administrative decision. You cannot use an administrative decision to solve an economic problem. An economic problem is solved using economic tools.
Wow. So now, going back to what you said earlier, government to take the precaution if this continues. Can government do that? Can government go to the pumps and force these people to sell? Is that anything within their powers?
Well, in any country you go, there's what we call nationalization. Mm-hmm. But nationalization comes with a rationale. Why is government nationalizing? The justification for me for nationalizing, this is a very radical approach, by the way. It's very extreme, and I don't think we will get that far. It means if the situation persists for 4 or 5 days and they're not willing to sell fuel and there is fuel at the Mandinari depot, government can just go, fill up all the trucks, bring the product, based on, let's say today, Jar Oil has 10,000 tons there. Not Petrogas, Star, whatever they call, they got petrol there. You take it, at last, you take from their stock, fill their tanks, get someone there to sell, put the monies in the bank. It's not monies that are coming back to government because ultimately it's not government's product or property. So the only thing government is interested is smooth running of the economy, and disruption of petroleum sale disrupts a smooth running of the economy. So government has the right to do that, to make sure that the economy stays afloat.
Now, finally, before I let go of you, so if this continues, what services do you think will be affected most in the country?
Everything, because like I told you, petroleum, once again, is a strategic product that runs across all economic activities in this country. I will start with one thing. The rice you eat in your house leaves the port, goes to a warehouse, the trader buys it, send it to Farafenye, transportation once again, and it's stored. Send it to Bakau, it's stored. The fish we eat, they buy premix. Premix is oil and petrol. Now, some of these gardens, they have boreholes. They need to water or do whatever. The poultry farms, they need to mix their feed. So they're using energy, mostly generated energy. So every aspect of life will have an adverse effect, and we've already started feeling it today. Feeling it in the sense that there are people looking for transportation, cannot have transportation. Town trip that used to cost you $200, they're now asking for $400. Some people are priced out, they cannot go to work. When they don't go to work, they're daily paid, they don't have an earning. When they don't have an earning, they don't have food to put on the table for that particular day for the house. So yes, collectively, everyone is suffering as I speak to you.
So this is a question someone just sent to me. He says, the oil marketing company in 2021 said Gambia government reduced the fuel price in the Gambia when the price is high in the international market. How does this affect the economy of the country? Send me questions if you want Nyangai to answer. He's going to be here for another 5-10 minutes. This is a question somebody sent to me. He said, the market, the OMC says in 2021, government reduced the fuel price when the markets in the international were high. How does that affect the economy?
Well, what the oil marketers need to understand is one thing. Petroleum is a regulated product. Regulated in the sense that government on a monthly basis will calculate and say that from August 1st to August 30th, these are the closing prices in the international market. Closing prices meaning petroleum, because Gambia we use what you call Platts, Northwest Europe. That's our indicator. There are different Platts. And in Gambia, we're using Platts, Northwest Europe. So they will say that the Platts, Northwest Europe, the average for the month of August is $1,100 per metric ton. So that goes into the price build-up. And after that is put on the price build-up, the next thing they put there is dealer's premium, importer's margin. The importer's margin basically covers the cost of the LC, letter of credit, covers the cost of shipment, meaning for every ton you put in a ship destined for Banjul, this is how much it's going to cost. Then, after that, they now come to the petrol stations, and that is what we call dealer's margin. So on the dealer's margin side, they will say that we are putting $4 per liter for whoever is selling fuel. So whether it's Jar Oil, Atlas, or whoever, there is $4 is there per liter that you have to have. And in that $4, that's your profit. That's your margin. It should cover your costs and you make a profit out of. But unfortunately, one thing has changed in Gambia. We have now accepted the OMCs to have a say in how the price build-up is made. 22 years ago, I was responsible for oil marketing and importation in the Gambia. I used to import all the oil in the country and I sell to all oil companies. And that's where we need to go. What does that mean? It means that the government of the Gambia will import all the product that is needed in the Gambia for Shell, for whoever. And now we will sell to them. So it means we already know the price. They cannot fool us, number one. We have put a margin for them to be made on it. Now that has changed. We allow any Tom, Dick, and Harry to order. And now we need to understand that size matters a lot in this business. So a small oil company who is only doing 1,000 tons every month will not have a ship that will bring 1,000 tons of product to Gambia, and they cannot get a good price internationally. Now you have a company that's doing 6,000 tons a month. They can get a good price because they have volume. It's a volume effect. Petroleum marketing is volume. So now all of them will have a different pricing of the same product. They're all selling petrol, but they're getting different prices from their suppliers. So now how can that change? It can change if government decide to buy on everyone's behalf. It's not like government is in business. Government is using its power. Instead of one person buying 1,000 tons, the other person buying 2,000, government will buy 18,000 tons. But before we buy it, all the companies have put in a request. I want 6,000, I want 7,000, I want 1,000. So now government has a purchasing power vis-a-vis international traders. So when the product, before the product comes, all of these companies will give government a revocable letter of credit. What it means is when the product comes, 90 days after, 30 days after, 45 days after, government can just walk into the bank with the letter of credit and get its cash. So it's a risk-free business. No, government will not chase anyone for money because they are already guaranteed their money. But that does one good thing to the market. It creates stability, it creates visibility, and stock out and things of this sort are highly reduced.
That's an interesting one, because in fact the component that is
liberalizing the market, we're telling them do what you want. And in countries, what the government does is all the oil companies will come together in September and say 4th of September they will come together and the government will say, okay, 24,000 tons is needed for October. Now we're going to float an auction amongst yourself and one of you will import on behalf of everybody else. So whoever has the lowest price amongst all of them will buy for the whole market.
Oh, interesting.
So we need to change the way we do things, and honestly, it's a cowboy business. The cowboys love the way things are right now, and the cowboys are getting, a field day. They are. Because when someone loses, there is someone else who is gaining.
Who's gaining,
and who is that person that's gaining? It's the invincible hand that is controlling the economy.
Oh, wow. Someone is asking, who are the major distributors in the Gambia?
Well, Jar Oil is the biggest company by far.
Jar Oil? Okay.
Atlas, then Atlas is number 2. Then what used to be Petrogas, I don't know how they're called now.
They're still Petrogas, yeah.
Yeah, Petrogas is number 3. Then number 4 and 5 are still small companies, Fortune and Tech World, because they are all OMCs, but they're of a smaller scale relative to the big boys. So Jar Oil, I can safely say that they control no less than 42 to 45% of the market as it is.
Wow, that's huge. Somebody is saying, Nyanjai, please don't stop talking. I see a lot of people saying, please do not stop talking, Nyanjai. because, we need people like you in society. Yes, I know the frustration and all the things that it comes with. I know the sacrifice. You don't have to, I don't have to say it here. We have discussed this several times, the personal sacrifice, the financial sacrifice. But again, we discussed this behind the scene, but I just see a lot of people saying, please don't stop talking, because I know you might not know the extent of how people listen to people like you, but keeping quiet, to be honest, will not be the option in India for people like you and Madi Jobate.
Well, I have a life to live, and I have a family to feed, and I can't live in a country whereby people in power are vindictive, spiteful, to the point they will want to disrupt your economic earning potential. Imagine a minister going to an international organization that is working with you on a project and said, we don't want X to be in this. Imagine if they go that low. So somehow, some of us are blacklisted. Let's just put it like that. Mm-hmm. We're good enough to do some private consulting, but no one dares give us a consultancy assignment within government because they know how the powers that be feel about us.
Yeah.
So it's not like they have a problem with us, but they just got to make sure that no one's blame them for what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Ninja. It's a lot of personal sacrifice, and I personally know some of the things you were just talking about. We will definitely have a conversation about these things. But now, GNPC is government owned, right?
GNPC is government owned.
Now,
GP is not government owned.
Yeah, but
they're two different things.
But GNPC, what can government do to expand? Because I'm thinking GNPC should be the biggest stakeholder in this business, because if they are, then stuff like this will not happen, because it's Gambian government owned, and they will not take these positions of not selling to Gambians because they're owned by the taxpayers. Do you think it's about time for GNPC to take that rightful role in the sector and push to be the biggest stakeholder? What does government need to do to empower GNPC to get it to be the biggest stakeholder in the business?
Well, if you know why GNPC was set up to do two things, upstream and downstream. Upstream meaning exploration. And through exploration, when you do exploration, you end up having crude oil. When you have crude oil, you send it to refineries. When you send it to refineries, you can sell crude oil raw. You can send your crude oil to a refinery to be processed. So they were thinking that GNPC will do two things. One, do upstream activity and downstream activity. Upstream activity meaning exploration, like the wells that they have been trying to do with Far Oil and others. But the downstream is retail. Retail meaning opening petrol stations and others. But I think they haven't done a good job growing. And GNPC today, if they so choose to, they can be the biggest player in the market. And I will tell you how and why. All the public enterprises in the country, now Gamtel, you name them. If government just set a directive and say all your fuel coupons starting month of September should be bought from GNPC, automatically that will make GNPC one of the biggest OMCs in Gambia. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, if government proper, central government said all our cars will be fueled from GNPC, immediately GNPC will move from number 3, number 4 in the market to number 1, because the public sector is big and the public sector demand and consumption is big. But you need people who are thinking, you need people who are sincere about the country, because why should government buy their coupons from
a different
from Atlas when we own a
GNPC
company that is paying us dividend? So if I am better off buying it from the company I own that pays me dividend at the end of the year. So it defies logic, some of the business decisions that are taken by our public servants.
I mean, Nyang, I do know, in fact, I do know this, because there are there was some policy, the papers that were passed to say, even when it comes to printing, let's get all government printing materials printed by GPPC because it's government owned. That way, you are empowering this company. All JRA receipts, all government receipts, all GAMTEL receipts, all government and parastatals should print with JET. But we have had issues where some of those departments refused to do that. It was even taken to cabinet and it was approved by cabinet, but still there are companies that are not doing that. Now, what you are saying makes so much sense. If government says, okay, now we're having these issues, now let's have a policy. The policy is GNPC is owned by Gambia government. And for us to be able to get the GNPC where we need it to be, we get government, parastatals, all departments, everything that is parastatal and Gambia government, buy your coupons from GNPC. Once that is done, right, GNPC automatically will take its rightful position because they are selling the largest volume. Government is the largest buyer, right? And once that is done, that can be used, that marketing strategy can even be used to redirect the citizens. But unless and until government takes that position, then GNPC will not be able to stand properly in that in doing that. Even when it comes to other business service, government services, you have government agencies going for where government parastatals are offering a certain service, instead of getting it from that company, right? They are going to other people and buying it from them. So that is it's a problem.
Well, the government should not open a company and not empower the company. I think GNPC overnight can be a market leader if the government is determined, and that determination starts with government patronizing its own company. That's number one. Number two, I think when GNPC was established, like I said, retail was the smallest bit of Yahya Jammeh's mindset. Yahya Jammeh was thinking about what we call upstream business, and the upstream business is exploration. Yeah. That's where the mega monies were. So they never focused on the retail. Yes, he opened petrol stations, but I think he did that more for visibility than profitability. And what happened, Gambia has inherited a lot from the past that we are not willing to let go. We need to let go some of the bad behaviors of the past to have better behaviors of today. And
somebody is saying that will be regulation, and that will not be that will be in violation of free market policy. Is that
well? Yes and no. The free market policy is saying that Gambia is an open market. We need to have a willing seller and a willing buyer of service to come together and create a transaction. Now, government owns a company. Now, government can say that I want the fuel that's going into my cars to be bought from company Y. That's a choice. Free market also talks about choice. Free market talks about choice.
Yeah.
And government made a choice to buy from company Y. And that's why sometimes government don't even go through tender.
Yes.
They go through single sourcing.
Yeah.
And government can exempt and just say, this is how we want it. So long as it's not going to be abused. What I mean abused, the prices will not be higher than what others would have charged government. I think it's fair and in the best interest of the public good. So I'm a free market advocate myself, but I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem is if GNPC is inefficient, if GNPC is overpricing, then there is no need giving them the incentive. But yes, government has the right to give GNPC the right of forced refusal. Even what they can do is every month put an offer out there. If GNPC's offer is not good, go somewhere else. And GNPC can be smart enough to say, I will want to make 10 bututs a liter instead of $2 is a liter, because with $2 is a liter, I'm selling 4,000 liters. If I get all of government's business, I'm selling 38,000 liters. So I'm collecting less per liter, but I have a volume effect to make up for what I'm losing. Then GNPC will be more competitive than its competitors because it has volumes that it's expecting from government. So there are ways to empower GNPC, but we need good management. We need management who cares about the public good, not management who want to go to these offices to better themselves. I mean, you have MDs that just want to procure fuel to make money and put it in their pockets rather than get the best price and the best deal for society and the companies that they're managing.
Wow, interesting. Now, finally, Nyangjai, what is the solution? If this is going to continue? What is the solution? What do we need to do now to get the pumps open and get everybody to be able to go about to their business?
Fatou, the problem is not the pump. The problem is not our electricity. The problem is not our poor roads. The problem of this country is a crisis of leadership. December 1st, 2021, we all got out and voted. And unanimously, Gambians have agreed that Barrow came out victorious.
Yeah.
When we were voting, we didn't vote for a cabinet. We didn't vote for a spokesman. We voted for Adama Barrow. And this Adama Barrow has just refused to interact with the people who has voted for him. He wants to talk to us by proxy. Presidential spokesman, cabinet ministers. Gambia needs leadership, and right now we have crisis of leadership and crisis of confidence. And what I want Adama Barrow to understand, none of us hate him. His success is our success. But what we want him to understand is, all of us and his government, we have a collective responsibility to Gambia. But equally, we have an individual accountability to Gambia, and he must assume that role so that he can be individually accountable for the responsibility we have bestowed on him. Being the president is not enjoying the perks, getting free clothes that otherwise you would not have had.
Sorry, I have a call.
With it. Mm-hmm. It also comes with toiling for the people, working for the people, sacrificing for the people. And that's one thing we want Adama Barrow to know. The Madijobat.
Hold on, Yang. I have Mayor Law calling. Hold on. Lord, don't make a live ni. I'm a call. I'm go fuel. Dama la bëgg a jaay ak gaay ñi ma defal live ñun ñu ngi nii di jooy amul essence dama laajte na amul essence yow duma la def su ma la defee speaker rek ba nit ñi xam ne yow amuloon I know waaw léegi xam nga jeexal ñan jaay nii live ni okay, now a colleague. Okay. Sorry, that's the mayor calling for. Yeah. Nyang, sorry. Nyang, sorry, mayor we more don't call. If I'm lim ko wara send. Yeah. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
It's an insult.
Yeah.
And the insult is he is indifferent to the plight of the Gambia. What do I mean by he is indifferent? Mm-hmm. The attitude that he has right now,
Nyang.
Yes.
Today, President Barrow, so gisee mo am cabinet, mo am ministers, am government spokesperson. Tay bo gisee mo am minister of finance. Pour le xew finance mu réglé ko. Bo gisee mo am government spokesperson. Today, President wa déglu mo ma jékali. Xaaral ma jékali. Léegi su dee government spokesperson the president war a wax mu ñëw waxal ñu ko because kooku lañ fay pour muy waxal président so ndax kooku su ñëwee waxa président tam ndax loolu problème dama laajte rek
Fatou gis nga Kerr dafa am borom Kerr Kerr dafa am ay surga Kerr dafa am ay dak Kerr dafa am ay ndombo tànka yuñ fa teg soo ñëwee ci Kerr papa mooy borom Kerr gi su fa nekkut yaay la dénk Kerr yaay bu demee ba am ay doom yu mag am na responsibility yu doom yi di jël so yes Adama Barrow am na rôle boo xam ne daf ko delegate it's a delegated responsibility boobu kenn amu ci problème moo tax minister of finance dina jël ay décision yoo xam ne du dem buur bu set kaagu ji ko because am na ay loi yu ko boot comme Public Finance Act dafa empowered
suma line bi ñang ana nga
du mel ni tam daf dee dem taagooji su taagoojee ñu ne ko mun ngaa go ahead nga def lii ak lii ak lii so man léegi fi maa waxee ak li ñoo wax mooy waxuñ ne Adama Barrow mu late ci dëkk bi si lu nekk mu wax ci waaye there are key fundamental things fu mu xewee Adama Barrow dafa war a jóg wax ak askan bi bam buggee place dafa amoon campagne team am campagne manager daf daan bàyyi campagne manager bi di ko waxal
non
waaw kon nag su fekkee ne dofut moom ñun buñ nangoo dof and lii la Gambian si war a understand delegated responsibility am bi mu ngi koo carry out through cabinet am bi loolu kenn amuti problème fine waaye am na yenn taxaw mbir su taxawee is of national importance dëkka président dafa war a manage the expectation of the people Gambian yëpp ñu ngi ne Gambia dafa naxari si jamono ji Adama Barrow dafa waroon a def li Senghor daan def Léopold Senghor dafa génn mu ne ni Sénégalais yi dégg naa seen dee mooy whisper li ngeen munu maa ngi koo dégg nii laay jéem ak lii pour safaral leen ko people will go reassured but if you have a president our house is burning he is nowhere to be seen where is leadership? Leadership is not something that is given to a group at the presidential level. It's given to one person. And that one person is like a general in the army. The general will draw the war plan, and sometimes the general will come out and talk to the troops. And right now, the general needs to periodically, boom, latte. That's what you call a national dialogue or a national statement. Dafa am foo xam ne daf ci war a taxaw dafa am tànga boo xam ne daf ci war a taxaw ñu xam ne papi réew mi am na fu mu taxaw réew mi waaye papi réew maa ngi jooy nga yóoni say ndomba tànka ne leen demal fompal ma seen rongo ñi. Where is that parenting? Lulu, there is a disconnect between his feelings about us and how we feel about him. And what I mean, there is a disconnect. Dafa nekk papa boo xam ne o borom kër goo xam ne embrace su doomam yi ba nga xam ne gis nañ yërmande ci moom. I don't know whether I'm making sense.
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Suñ bët su xonxee bañuma ma gis kii suma papa indi ci kër gi suñ gaadina bi muy ñëw ne ma xay fan la sa gaañu bi nekka te suma papa mu ci biir néeg bi dégg ne xay Dadi Njaay lii moo la dal da nga daanu bugga naa suma papa ñëw seet ma nit ku nekk loolu dafa am lum laa def and foofu noonu la ñu Adama Barrow joxut cër gi ñu war a jox as a nation. And this is not political. Dama buga Gambians to understand. Dafa am problem buñ am as Gambians. Whenever we make an issue talking about Adama Barrow, people politicize it. It's either blue, it's either gray, or yellow. That's not the case. The case is, yena yi sax ku demut Ganaar xam nga ne guddi la ñoo reer. So forget about your political lineage. Dafa am loo xam ne dafa wrong te dañ ko war a wax ne dafa wrong.
ñu ñang and lu nga wax ni dafa am solo xam nga lu tax mu am solo réew mi dafa tollu foo xam ne tey bu ñang jaay waxee rek ñu ne la opposition nga ñu taamu ci lu bari ku wax dara rek ñu ne la UDP nga wara opposition bu gën a vocal ñu ne loolu nga right but soo supporté government def dara nga so ñu ne tey moom NPP la de because mu ngi support. It's about time sometimes you fàtte those colors when we talk about national interest. Nit mun na nekk sax si government man démb gis naa Ahmed Jite NPP supporter la gis naa ko mu ngi wax categorically clear ne that press conference was wrong understand nga now su waxee loolu naturally ñu ne hey ndaata mo NPP la ci no it should be about what is the interest of the nation bu dee tey Fatou Touré gis na loo xam ne wrong na mu wax ko that doesn't make Fatou Touré UDP or PDOIS or an opposition party. But that makes Fatou Touré just a Gambian ko xamne dafa am concern about something. So lolu mo xew ci rew mi ñang jaay. Lu tax ma yërem sa maas yi ak maas yi ñang Madi Jobaate man for example man mom min na ko man at this point I don't care. But ban color lañ ma jox I cannot change that. But dama dey wax li so mota sometimes man all the time I come out and talk dama dee am saksi di wax comme Massi Madi Jobaate ñoom ñang jaay la ñoo def si réew mi xam nga lu tax ñun ñëpp ñu am voice ñu war a hail people like yéen ak ñoom Madi because I personally know some of the sacrifices some of you are doing but saa yoo leen waxee rek ñu ngi leen a indil doubts yoo xam ne sa credibility la dee check because dangaa gis stories yoo xam ne sax dañ ko binda si yéen ak ñeneen man there was a time there was this story they wrote about Madi 3-4 days I was pissed because some of those things internet bi du ko musa faate waaye yaa ngi ko wax nit just because what na something about government and those things yoo xam nga ne kooku life am for the rest of our life am loolu mu ngi ci internet bi dafa affect sa dëkk bi léegi lu ku nit ut liggéey rek dañ laa dem njëkk a Google what pops out mooy lu important right loolu is important in international world bi right now people that are speaking up frequently ñu ngi leen a ne UDP nga lii nga tax na ba léegi social media nga gis ne benn activiste ñeme ñu sa wax soo waxee ñu ne la opposition nga and xam nga loolu lu mu la affect some of them gis nañ seen liggéey some of you guys certain contracts government sax suñu leen ko sant ñeen dañoo ragal ne hey kii jubóowut ak government de duma ko jox business loolu mu ngi affect sa bottom line at some point everybody is going to leave this job the activism wall ñi nga xam ne ñu si réew mi because suñu amutee lu ñoo dundal seen njaboot dafa metti and it cut across a lot of people understand ñoo xam ne ñu ngi si dëkk bi so dangaa gis ne everything ñu ngi ko politicize ku wax ñu ne la opposition nga ku support government su defee dama dee wax su government defee lu baax nañ ko tàccu ñu yuuxu ko because lu baax la waaye su government defee lu wrong nañ ko wax waaye soo ko waxee rek ñu label la des at some point people get tired and I see that gis naa that fatigue in the si activism wall bi fu mu ne nii léegi foo naa dama ko dee wax ñaari nit rek ñoo fi dee wax ñooñu sax gis naa fan yi suma waaji sa Madi mu ngi noppeegu ma ne ko ay Madi yow boo noppee dina métti tey call nga ma nga ne ma ñang Fatou dama bàyyi you know it's important for ñun the citizen this is not even the government the citizen nañ bàyyi loolu muy opposition bi soo waxee dara government ñu ne la tay NPP la dañ ko jox contract dañ ko jox business no soo waxee dara government ñu ne opposition la UDP la nekka so loolu dafa métti trop si réew mi te mu ngi yàq réew mi loolu buñ ko waxutee mu ngi yàq réew mi ñu wax ko mu ngi yàq réew mi
well xam naa ne Adama Barrow leena la war a xam nit ñi utuñ liggéey ci moom te soxluñ liggéeyam ñu ngi dunda without liggéey waaye nag gannaaw ñoo bokk réew mi war nañoo bokk xalaat mooy suñ gisee loo xam ne jaarut yoon suñ ko waxee bu mu seet ki ko wax it's not about the messenger it's the message since May maa ngi wax affaire yi central bank arrangement bi su ma la waxee yaaxu bi am ci loolu if we are counting the economic cost of that ill-conceived directive it's nothing less than $200 million made to date if you want to calculate what this economy has lost because bili di xew dollar bangi 53 pay dollar bangi almost 60 so $7 si dollar bi move nako number 1 number 2 bili xewé betay amount of dollar bi daan ñëw ci dëkk bi wañéku na because nit ñaa ngi ragal seen dollar bi su ñëwé nguur gi jox leen price buñ ko wéccé ci duggé ci biir banque bi so légui da nga bay sa dollar outside ku bëgg fay nga fayalé ko fofu mom mu jox la dala ci fi ci rate bi nga accept so economy bi mo ci sofa and the end of the day prices mu affect ko so jëlé a study nga xool all the losses because losses ci bunta yu bari la génné nga xool losses yépp da nga gis ne sakan boo xam ne décision bi lim yaa si économie moo ëppa li ci économie njëriñoo te njëriñ amu ci so bañ koo wax ñu bari dañoo ne ñii lu nguur gi def rek ñu against ko déedéet nguur gi moo deful lu right tey dama gis dara ci paper bi dama ci kontaan the governor of the central bank is running a tight monetary policy to fight inflation and that is the right thing to do. Any economist worth their salt will say that Governor Bilim def dafa right. So our decisions need so jange. Ngay wax lo xamne ci xam-xam la wéeru. You cannot be biased with it because xam-xam dafa neutral. So Governor bi defee lu correct. I will be the first to say the governor is doing the right thing because prescription bobu moy faj bopp bu metti. Waaye nga war a am bopp bu metti ma ne la jëlal marto fooga ko sa bopp bi dama ne la yow danga waaye loolu la rek lii mooy issue bi buñ defee the right thing dinañ leen ne di ngeen def right na buñ ko deful ñu leen li ngeen def right tut
waaw loolu moom dëgg la and I think ne every Gambian dañ war a encourage loolu dama ko dee wax saa yu ma toogee rek man dama dee wax ne nañ encourage ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi wax saa yu nekk bilaay dëkk bi anywhere in the world waxkat yi suñ waxutee du baax loolu du Gambia rek it's not unique to Gambia it's everywhere démba Biden dama ko seetaan Biden wax America tey media yëpp ñu ngi ko castigate ñu ngi wax ne Biden li mu wax lu war koo waxee nii waaye loolu taxut Biden mu ne ñooñu waruñoo wax si réew mi taxut ñuy leen a xee taxut ñuy leen wax dafa baax si réew nit koo xam ne dafa lii government saa yu nekk di ko fàttali loolu am na solo moo taxit maas ku mel ni yéen ku mel ni Mamadou Sabally ku mel ni Madi Jobaate dañ leen war a encourage dama dee wax ne yes there might be issues sometimes man dama dee wax su conflict of interest su ñëwee si dara soo si waxutee loolu is acceptable tey man suma papa su dara xewee yal na ma yàlla musal si moom Kerr Fatou du ko bindal ko dañ naan conflict of interest la suma papa la understand nga waaye su nekkut loolu people that have been consistent and have been speaking about issues let's encourage them billahi suñ toogee ba réew mi ñàkk a wax kat du baax réew mu bu nekk nag Sénégal a ngi nii
Fatou I am telling you
Sénégal a ngi nii
ñu ne sooy bàyyi liggéey da ngaa joxe notice
bul bàyyi yow nag xalal yow
putting you on notice ne la man
duñ la bàyyi nga dem
dox ci leneen
duñ la bàyyi nga dem yow duñ la bàyyi réew mi si boppam ñoo ko duñ nangu
man kuma bàyyi man suma magi bopp la
réew mi wul not réew mi duñ ko nangu ñang jaay
kenn nenuma
duma la may jabar de soo bàyyee duma la may jabar te maa ngi la war a may jabar
non yow foog ñu juboo fa waaye nag dama bëgg sa gaay tamit am na li ma xañ waaye non ara no bàyyi noonu
ma ne la jabar la duma la ko may gaay mu ne naa ko may ma ndinka musoo ma ne ko duma la may ma ndinka musoo
waaye kana wax ma ndinka musoo sax
bàyyi yow yaa ma woon loolu di nga ne ma jabari soose nga bëgg naa la may jabari soose loolu nga moom
waaw jox ma boobu nag loolu laa wax
duma la ko may duma la ko may
maam suma ma ndinka musoo waaye jox ma nag suma ma ndinka musoo bi
duma la ko may de duma la ko may mu ngi seetaan sa de duma la ko may bye
ma ne maa ngi laa nuyu wax ko ne maa ngi ko nuyu
yang waaye ñu kacop xanaa ëllëg yaa ngi si brunch bi right suma ko rek laa def waaw ma fana yaa ngi si brunch bi ëllëg waaw
we as Gambians, we need to have a bigger picture, and the bigger picture is bigger than individuals. And let's not worry about who the messenger is. Let's worry about what the message is.
Yeah.
Nyangjai is a very inconsequential Gambian. I am very irrelevant. But sometimes what I say is relevant. So let's worry about what I say, not who said it. But the mere fact that Indian got to the lowest level of who instead of what, Gambia is the loser, not Nyangjai. Because at the end of the day, Nyangjai can move on and do other things. Nyangjai is talking and talking at cost. It is costing him when he speaks.
I know.
It's costing him friends. It's costing him money. Sometimes it costs him family. Sometimes it costs him opportunities. But at the end of the day, he believes that he's going to survive and he will make a living. And those people don't give him a living. Even the people who try to take contracts away from him don't give him a living. So I'm just happy and comfortable thinking like that. But at the end of the day, if we want to build a better Gambia, we need to be tolerant to divergence. And that's the problem we are faced with in Gambia. We're not tolerant to divergent views.
That's true.
Wow. So let's work on that for a better country.
Let's work on that for a better country. And inshallah, Nyanjai will be on the brunch tomorrow with Lamin Cham. We have other people there.
I'm not in the brunch.
Ah, Lamin Cham, you're on your brunch. Call us.
He didn't. Nobody called me. Nobody told me.
Yeah, anyway, Nyanjai, Lamin Cham, hello, Mungini, Legini Moahayola. Don't spoil my show. I have Nyanjai tomorrow. So, how many?
I'm just hearing it for the first time here.
Why he definitely Mangla gis list, so I'm sure he's calling you or something. Depuis suba mung si essence the essence amut, so he's caught up with that thing there. He doesn't have.
Last time, if you remember, I was at Kerr Fatou.
Yeah.
And my closing remark to Mr. President was, Mr. President,
yeah,
your problem is not your political nemesis, meaning the Mama Candes, the lawyer Davos. Your problem will emanate from social issues. What do I mean by that? Rising cost of living, unemployment, drug abuse that can cause crime, and other things. And what will this lead to? It will lead to a disgruntled population. A disgruntled population end up being a silent majority. People who are sitting down, waiting for something to happen, to have what you call a spontaneous combustion. And that's not good for the country. God forbid, I don't want it. But the only way we will not get to there is if the president start acting presidential and taking matters in his own hands. We have seen what happened in Freetown. We all hate it, but what can we learn from it? It means that all is not well. And Mr. President, all is not well in your neck of the woods, just because people are moving around. Like the British will say, peace is just not the absence of war, but peace is the prevalence of social equity and people being equal and having what they think they deserve. But in Gambia right now, we are seeing corruption wholesale, not retail anymore, wholesale. Corruption being decentralized. Whether you're a cleaner, messenger, record officer, anything, you do what you want without nothing coming out of it. You think your population are going to be happy? No. They are frustrated. And the little thing that happens will trigger emotions that are not nice. And these are what Mr. President and his handlers should start looking into to make sure we avert it. Gambia deserves better, and the best way Gambia is going to get best is for the people who are around Mr. President to stop sheltering him and expose him to the very people who gave him a mandate. The president, ñu ko yar boo xam ne baaxul, dañ ko ring fence. ñi ko ring fence bëgguñ interaction am bu bari ak nit ñi liñ bëgga ñoom ñu nekk di go between nit ñi ak moom. But at the end of the day, suñu sani la karta moom la de du ñooñu. And that's where he needs to think. And thank you, Fatou.
Thank you very much, Nyang. Thank you for always bringing a very interesting conversation. I appreciate you a second. All right, thank you. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much. And I'm going to end here. Thank you for sending us stars. We appreciate you all. Tomorrow, Lamin Cham will be here for the brunch with members of the oil marketers, marketing companies. We will have somebody from finance, hopefully, and we will have an economist as well here to talk about all of these issues and what happens. But we will also give you updates as to what is happening in the stations, if they're selling or if they're not selling. We want to thank you all. Be safe, and thank you so much for sending us stars. Like I said, if you send us stars, you are empowering the network, and by empowering us, we're able to do more programs like this and be able to bring you more events, things that are happening in the country. Production is not easy. So we thank you so much for always sending us stars and for supporting. Thank you very much, and join us tomorrow for the brunch, and after that, Badia Kacha. But if there needs to be any update, I'll come back to update you as to what is going on. Thank you very much, and good night. See you next week, inshallah. Bye-bye.